Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some more news concerning Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn. Get this. Eddie Hearn states that if AJ beats Usyk and then goes on to beat Fury, he will go down as one of the greatest heavyweights ever. And this is what he said in depth. He said, I guess he is going to be asked, are you retiring? And if you are, we need to vacate the WBC belt. Hearn said of Fury, but he is not retiring and he won't vacate the belt. And that is what I expect to happen. If he does retire, good luck to him. But I don't think he will. I think he will fight the winner of AJ and Usyk in December. It will be for the undisputed championship. It will be a huge fight financially, and it will be a legacy-defining fight, and it will put the winner down as what we call the generation's best. If AJ beats Usyk and then goes on to beat Fury, he will go down as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And if Fury beats them, Fury goes down as that as well. Let me counterpunch. Whoever wins, if that goes down the way Eddie Hearn says it's going to go down, if those fights even happen, if Tyson Fury doesn't retire, I think what will happen is whoever wins, that's what he would be perceived to be. Okay. But then here's the thing. What I expect after that, whoever wins or loses, because if Tyson Fury stays on board and he fights the winner and he becomes the winner, if he doesn't retire after that, because I think he would probably, knowing Fury, he would probably retire after that. But if he doesn't, this is what I expect. And this always happens in the sport of boxing. Whoever wins will then go on to be undisputed. And the very next fight, he will lose. He will lose. It's just the way it is. It's like you go all the way to the mountaintop and you get on the top and then you slip and you fall all the way down. That's what happens. It happened to Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis, did all that. He beat Holyfield the first time. It wasn't a draw. He beat him the second time. That looked more like a draw, but he beat him. And then he goes on, to start whooping guys like Michael Grant. He was undefeated, slapped him to the ground. And, he got in that Ocean's 11 movie with Vlad, and they had that big show. And then all of a sudden he went to Africa, and what happened? He gets knocked out by Hasim Rahman, right? Timber, right? I think it was the fourth round, or the fifth. And he was knocked out, and he didn't beat the count, and he said some of the silliest shit. The type of things that people would say when they do get knocked on their ass. Well, that's what happens, Larry, when you don't beat the count, huh? It's like, yeah, that's exactly what happens, dude. It's almost like he was blaming the count, But anyway, but he gets it back. But here's the thing. Everyone has everyone's number. If you fight long enough, you will be defeated. Doesn't matter who you are. Why Floyd got out the game like he did, like Rocky Marciano got out the game like he did, because he's seen a loss coming on the horizon. He saw that loss coming. He was like, you know what? Time to go. It's time to go. So going down as one of the generation's best, of this era, you could say that. But then it's always that person that you haven't fought. It's always that person that you chose not to challenge. You chose to put pride or politics ahead of fighting that particular fight. See, Anthony Joshua could have easily fought anybody else besides Andy Ruiz, but that was the guy that had his number that particular night. The same goes for every fighter. Okay, so, but to see how these guys has been eliminated, while Fury beat Wilder, and then Fury beat Dillian White. Anthony Joshua got beat by Usyk, then he's fighting Usyk again. So everything is dwindling on down to the heavyweight division. I think what we should be focusing on in the heavyweight division is the up-and-comers. Jared Anderson, Joe Joyce, which he's not really up and coming. He's already been around for a while, and he's like 3 years older than Anthony Joshua. But, I mean, he's still kind of fresh because he hasn't had too much punishment. Daniel Dubois is another one. Frank Sanchez is another one. But everybody else, really, you know, we'll see what Big Baby Miller does. But we'll see what happens. You know, and I think that's where the focus will shift as soon as these guys start getting out of here. You know, Wilder first, maybe Fury second, and Anthony Joshua third. So it can be that way. If AJ beats both of those guys, I feel that he has a better chance to be recognized as one of the best. Why? Because he fought the stiffer and harder competition. Let's just be real. You know, Fury fought Wilder 3 times, then fought White, fought Vladimir years ago, and that's it. Okay, and it's like, yeah, it's a padded resume to a certain degree. The only thing that really I think people are not looking at about Fury and Wilder, I think because of the excitement in that fight, it looked that much more intriguing. It made you look and believe in a certain type of fighter. But understand, it took 2 to tango. See, Wilder dropped Fury a couple times in 1 round. Okay, so that's what made it kind of shift. You're like, oh shit, what is really going to happen in this fight? We thought this fight was over the 3rd round. Okay, so the very next round, Wilder showed that power, and down went Fury. You know, and he took a dive for the 2nd time just to get those legs back. Okay, so I think people look at the excitement of the fight, and then because that fight was so good, ending that saga, the perception of Fury being the best because of that particular fight kind of, you know, fit a certain narrative, and it looked like it was the thing to do, or the thing to say, or the thing to think at the time. Okay, but I will go a step further. Let's do this. Joshua, if he beats Usyk and Fury, that means the only person he didn't fight was Wilder. If Tyson Fury beats Usyk, then Joshua, which he won't, because if Usyk beats Joshua, he'll never fight Joshua. You know, and if he doesn't fight Usyk, then how will we ever know that he was the best of this era? I think people jumped the gun a bit. But for AJ, though, since he has fought Usyk then Fury, so it would have been lately, you know, he would have fought Andy Ruiz twice, Kubrat Pulev, Alexander Usyk, Dillian White's on there. Well, shit, if we're going to add Dillian White, we got to add Vlad. Vladimir's on there. Who else? You know, like, that's really it. But that's 5 people compared to 3. You know what I mean? Vladimir, Wilder, White. Vladimir, White, Pulev, Usyk, you know, who else? Ruiz, you know, Povetkin. So, I mean, you know, that list goes on. And I think, you know, Eddie's right. If Anthony Joshua can make that, he would still have haters nonetheless. But if he did beat those 2 guys, that would fulfill his resume as well as his legacy in the sport. I don't think he would really need to fight anyone else. But if he does, I think he's just as much in danger of getting beat just because he has everything. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn stating that whoever wins the next fight will go down as the greatest of this era. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.